People came here looking for comfort. Some came looking for a fresh start, and a few never left. The Crescent Hotel had always been surrounded by rumors. Guests whispered about strange sounds echoing through empty hallways. Employees refused to work alone on the third floor after dark. Most people laughed at the stories, until 5 years ago. A successful financial auditor named Daniel Harper checked into room 307 after a long business trip. He carried only a leather messenger bag, a suitcase, and a quiet smile. The receptionist handed him his room key. Security cameras captured him walking down the hallway. He unlocked room 307, stepped inside, and closed the door. It was the last time anyone officially saw Daniel Harper alive. The following morning, housekeeping knocked on his door. No answer. Hours passed. Still no answer. When hotel management unlocked the room, Daniel was gone. His suitcase remained beside the bed. His wallet rested neatly on the bedside table. His passport was still inside the room. Nothing appeared to be stolen. There were no signs of forced entry, no signs of a struggle. It was as though Daniel had simply vanished into thin air. Police searched every room in the hotel. They questioned every employee. They reviewed countless hours of security footage. Nothing. The investigation slowly grew cold. Weeks became months. Months became years. Eventually, people stopped asking questions. The hotel remained open. New guests arrived. New memories replaced old ones. But room 307 never completely escaped its past. Many guests requested another room after spending only one night there. Some complained they heard footsteps in the middle of the night. Others claimed they felt as though someone was watching them while they slept. Most blamed the old building. Others refused to ever return. 5 years later, on another rainy Tuesday morning, Emma Brooks parked her small silver car outside the Crescent Hotel. She had worked there for 12 years, long enough to know every hallway, every staircase, every room. She wasn't a detective. She wasn't an investigator. She was simply the head housekeeper. Her mornings never changed. Fresh towels, fresh sheets, cleaning supplies, a quick greeting to the front desk staff, then another ordinary day. Or at least, that's what she believed. As Emma reached the housekeeping office, her supervisor handed her the day's cleaning schedule. She glanced down the list without much interest, until one room made her stop. Room 307. Emma raised an eyebrow. That's unusual, she thought. The room had finally been booked after sitting empty for several weeks. She loaded fresh linen onto her cleaning cart and made her way toward the third floor. The elevator doors opened with a soft chime. The hallway was strangely quiet. Too quiet. The only sound was the distant tapping of rain against the old windows. Emma slowly pushed her cart toward the end of the corridor. There it was, room 307. The brass numbers looked dull with age. She stood silently for a moment before sliding her master key into the lock. The door clicked. Emma gently pushed it open. A cold draft drifted out into the hallway. She frowned. Something about the room felt different. She couldn't explain why, but for the first time in 12 years, Emma hesitated before taking a single step inside. Emma finally stepped inside. The room was silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence, the kind that made every small sound seem unusually loud. She closed the door behind her and took a slow look around. Everything appeared perfectly normal. The curtains were half closed. The bed had already been stripped by the previous guest. A suitcase rack stood neatly beside the window. The old wooden wardrobe showed the same scratches she had seen hundreds of times before. Nothing looked out of place. Still, that strange feeling refused to leave. Emma shook her head and smiled to herself. 12 years in this hotel, she thought. Maybe those ghost stories are finally getting to me. She rolled her cleaning cart inside the room and began working. Fresh towels first. She folded each one carefully and placed them in the bathroom. Then she replaced the soap, shampoo, and lotion. Everything exactly where it belonged. She wiped the bathroom mirror until it reflected like glass. Satisfied, she returned to the bedroom. Next came the bed. Emma removed the old sheets and spread fresh white linen across the mattress with practiced precision. The corners were perfectly tucked, no wrinkles. Exactly the way she liked it. She fluffed the pillows before stepping back to admire her work. Another ordinary room, another ordinary morning. Or so she believed. She reached for the vacuum cleaner. The familiar hum filled the room as she slowly worked her way across the carpet, back and forth, back and forth. Years of experience had turned the task into muscle memory. She barely had to think. As she approached the bed, she lowered the vacuum head toward the narrow space underneath. The nozzle disappeared beneath the frame. Then, clunk. Emma stopped immediately. The vacuum had struck something solid. She frowned. That wasn't right. Usually there was nothing beneath the beds except a little dust. She switched off the vacuum. The sudden silence made the room feel even colder. Emma knelt beside the bed. She leaned forward and tried to look underneath. It was too dark. She couldn't see anything. She reached into her cleaning cart and grabbed a small flashlight. Its narrow beam cut through the darkness beneath the bed. Dust floated lazily through the light. For a moment, she saw nothing. Then, a faint reflection. Metal. Something black rested far beneath the bed, almost hidden against the wall. Emma stretched out her arm. Her fingers barely reached it. She moved closer. Still not enough. Lying flat on the carpet, she reached even farther. Her fingertips brushed the object. Slowly. She pulled it toward her. Dust scraped across the wooden floor. Little by little. The object emerged from the darkness. Emma stared at it. A black smartphone. Old, covered in years of dust. She sat back on the floor. How did this get here? She wondered. The phone looked as though it hadn't been touched in years. Its screen was cracked. Dust filled the charging port. There was no way any recent guest had left it behind. She turned it over in her hands. No hotel sticker. No name. No case. Just an old phone. Emma considered dropping it into the hotel's lost and found box, but something made her pause. A strange curiosity settled over her. She wiped the screen gently with the edge of her cleaning cloth. The display remained black. Dead, she whispered to herself. Still, almost without thinking. She pressed the power button. Nothing happened. She smiled. I knew it. She was about to place the phone on her cleaning cart, when suddenly, a tiny vibration echoed through the silent room. Emma froze. The screen flickered. Once. Twice. Then, the old phone slowly came to life. A faded company logo appeared. Emma's heartbeat quickened. She stared at the screen in complete disbelief. How could a phone hidden beneath a hotel bed for years still have power? The loading screen disappeared. The home screen appeared. Battery remaining. 1%. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Then, without warning, a notification appeared. One new voicemail, received 3 minutes ago. Emma's breathing slowed. She looked toward the closed hotel room door, then toward the silent window. The phone had no SIM card, no signal, no Wi-Fi, yet somehow, someone had just left a voicemail. Emma's thumb slowly moved toward the screen. She hesitated. Then she pressed play. For a few seconds, nothing. Only static. A faint crackling sound filled the room. Emma frowned. Maybe the recording was corrupted. Then, a man's breathing. Slow. Uneven. As though he had been running. Emma instinctively held her own breath. The voice finally spoke, barely above a whisper. If anyone finds this... The recording crackled. I don't have much time. More static. They know... The voice stopped. For nearly 5 seconds. Silence. Emma leaned closer. Then the whisper returned. They're watching me. Emma's eyes widened. The breathing became faster. If I disappear... Another burst of static. Don't... The audio cut out. Emma frowned. The message wasn't over. The phone remained silent. Then, the final words played. Trust. Static. The manager. The voicemail ended. Emma remained frozen. The room suddenly felt colder. She replayed the message again and again. Each time, the same words. If anyone finds this, they're watching me. Don't trust the manager. Nothing more. No name. No explanation. No clue who the speaker was. Emma looked toward the hotel door. Her mind immediately returned to the newspaper article she had read. Daniel Harper, the businessman who vanished. Could this be his voice? She quickly opened the phone's call history. Empty. Messages. Empty. Contacts. Nothing. Photo gallery. Empty. Almost everything on the phone had been erased. Except the voicemail. Emma frowned. Who would erase everything but leave this? She searched the phone settings. No owner information, no email address, no emergency contacts, nothing. It was as though someone wanted the phone to exist, without belonging to anyone.